we're back. My recording thing went off, so it cut off right as we picked the Oklahoma State game. I have Oklahoma State beating Arkansas. The next game is Pitt at Cincinnati. I'm going to go ahead and take Cincinnati. Like I said, I need more information about these two teams. And Pitt did struggle in their opener. Cincinnati took care of business. And usually, like I said, when it's two teams that are kind of tied, as far as I'm concerned, I usually defer to the home team. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Cincinnati to win that game against Pitt. Who you got?
I got Pitt to win it.
Well, of course you do.
Got Pitt to win a close one because they are tied. And I don't know. At the end of the day, I don't know. I got to learn more about both of these teams. So, again, this is college football, so I'm not just going to go with the home team. Teams have shown me just in 1 week that they could lose a game at home.
Well,
so I'm going Pitt.
I'm not saying just because they're at home. I'm saying when I have two teams that are dead even, to me, I defer to the home team because there's no, I don't have a lot of information.
Well, neither do I.
Yeah, well, Yeah, so, hey, nothing wrong with being wrong,
Well, I mean, I'm up ahead of you on points.
Yeah, well.
You're the one that's got to pick smart.
Oh no, don't worry. We did. Let's look at this thing so far, folks. We picked 5 games,
Don't matter.
and literally, as we're talking to the people here, we've picked 5 games. We've disagreed on all 5 of them. So there will be an uproar at the end of week 2, folks. No question about it. Somebody's gonna be winning it by a lot, maybe. Somebody's gonna be down. Hopefully that's me, because Boston College really did me bad. Anyway, next game, Baylor at Utah. Utah is ranked 12th, I think. If I'm not, no, they're 11th now. This game is at 2:30 on Fox. Remember, Utah went to Baylor last year and won a very weird game. Who you got winning this game? Baylor at number 11, Utah.
At Utah, I think Utah does Baylor in really nice.
Yeah, I'm well.
This might not. That one might get ugly.
Damn, I need a Sharpie.
That one could easily get ugly on Baylor Bears.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Utah too. Baylor did something that this year that they didn't do last year early, and that's beat a team that they should be better than. They did that this year, so good job. But Utah is
Utah's a different animal.
If Cam Rising continues to be healthy, if Brent Keithy, their tight end, both of these dudes have been in college football for about 7 years now. So if they can both finally stay healthy together, we know what their coach is going to do. We know what he likes to do. He likes to beat you up. And he likes to run you over. Pretty much like a Michigan-style team. And they play great defense. I just don't know if Baylor, to me, has the horses to keep up. I think this Utah defense is going to, especially at home, that environment and down there in the muss at Utah is one of the best environments in football. Utah knows what they need to do this year. At number 1, you get a win. Now, the tricky thing about this game that I learned, both of these teams are in the Big 12, but because they scheduled this game years ago and they weren't in the conference, they're saying that this is not going to count as a conference game, which is weird, but I get it. They scheduled it because remember they went to Baylor last year, so they scheduled this a couple of years ago. So, but this will not count as a conference game. So it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. It just does for, let's just say Baylor, loses this game but ends up going on a run. That'd be weird. But yeah, I'm on the Utah train, man. At first, I picked against them as far as going to the Big 12 championship, but on second thought, I did go back to them because I just think that if those two guys stay healthy, we know what the defense is going to do. You're not going to score very many points on them. They don't make mistakes. They don't turn the ball over. They don't get penalties. They just play good, clean, hard-nosed football. So we both picked the same team, and we're gonna go with Utah. And I need to get a Sharpie because my pen isn't working. The next game, the battle for the Cy-Hawk Trophy. Iowa State going to number 21 Iowa, 2:30 on CBS. This game is always close. This honestly is one of the best rivalries in football. We may not see a lot of points, but this will be a good game. Who do you have winning the battle for the Cy-Hawk Trophy?
Iowa Hawkeyes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with. It's a tough game. Again, not. I don't expect a lot of points to be scored in this game. Iowa started off slow against Illinois State, and then they eventually got going. But I still don't trust Iowa's offense. I trust both of these defenses. Iowa's had the better hand for the last couple of years. Iowa State did get them the other year, I believe. But this is easily a 14-10 type of game. But you know what? Give me Iowa State on the road. Rivalry game. I think they come in. They didn't perform the greatest last week. Iowa State against North Dakota. They took care of business. They still won, but they still won the game. So give me Iowa State. Pop's gonna go with Iowa here, and once I get this pin to work. I'm just gonna remember this later because I spilled this crap on my paper. Next, this game is going to be quick. We're both going to have this. Well, the next two games are going to be pretty quick, but I just want to talk about them for a little bit. So we're going to do a double pick. FAMU at Miami, USF at Alabama. I presume we're both going to have Miami and Alabama winning those games. I just put them on there because I wanted to have about 20 games on here. And again, FAMU is no pushover. They won the HBCU National Championship last year by beating Howard. They won their game against Norfolk State to start the year off in a very close game. I believe they won last week as well. So they're coming in feeling good about themselves. Miami, I don't care what anybody says. Georgia is a great team, and I more or less expected them to do that to Clemson because I just never trusted Clemson's offense. What they did to Florida in the swamp was one of the most shocking results I've ever seen. I didn't think Florida was going to be vying for an SEC championship, but for Miami to go in there and just pummel them, I didn't see that coming. And I also didn't believe in Miami before the season, as I said that when we did the AP poll reaction. I just didn't see it. But again, if they can keep this up, the problem with Miami has been once they face a team like a FAMU or Georgia Tech or Virginia one year, they fall. When they've had the good teams they've had in the last decade or so, they've fallen because they get distracted and they big themselves up so much that they forget that they still have to play other games. So I want to see them beat the brakes off of FAMU. It's another interstate game. The very, I need them to. That's what's going to wake up for me. Because, like I said, this is a wake up weekend, week 2. This is where a lot of the best games are. This is where we're going to find out more about a lot of these teams who didn't really play anyone last week. This is a wake up week. I need Miami to put their foot on the pedal and continue to dominate. This game should not be close. If it is, we're going to have issues. But I believe in Cam Ward. Watched him at Washington State. I know what he's about. He did have that one turnover against Florida that was just kind of like, he's going to have to eventually clean that up once you start playing better teams. Because Florida, I don't think they're going to be a very good team this year. They still went in there and took care of business, but you're going to be playing a lot better teams than Florida on the road. So you got to clean that up. But no, I just want to see Miami take care of business. As far as Alabama goes, they went to USF last year, and that was probably the ugliest game of the year. I don't know how USF didn't win that football game. It was ugly. It was raining. They had to put about 3 different quarterbacks in for Alabama. This is not that situation, though. This is in Tuscaloosa. They got Jalen Milroe going now. Kalen DeBoer, one of the best coaches in college football. Pretty simple. I don't think there's no debate about that. He's been set up for success. I mean, honestly. A lot of Nick Saban's guys are still there. They had some transfer, but again, you still have one of the best recruiting classes every year. So it's not like all of a sudden Alabama's going to fall from the sky. I expect them to win this game. Now, I expect this game to be a little closer than their game against Western Kentucky because that was a beating. I expect this to be a beating as well, just not as big as Western Kentucky because Barry and Brown, the quarterback for USF, he looks like the real deal. And they could be a huge player in the American Conference. So I expect them to put up some points. But just to test that Alabama defense out a little bit. But yeah, I'm going to go with, like I said, we're both picking Miami and Alabama to win those games. But just wanted to provide some context to that game. Now, got about 5 games left. Let's go Cal at Auburn. Who do you have winning that? Because I've got Auburn winning that game.
Auburn winning that game pretty good.
Yeah, I think Cal, like I said, I need more information on Cal. And they are in the ACC now, so, which is, again, it's a weird thing to say. Cal in the ACC, it just makes no sense. But Auburn, again, one of those teams that last week put a 70-piece on their opponent, which, again, a lot of teams did that last week, which is why I keep saying this is a show-me week. This is a prove-it week for me. Cal is a better team than the team they played last week. Not even close. But Auburn at home in that beautiful environment, kind of a midday game. And when they played Cal last year in Cal, that was a really close game. But they did come out on top. So I'm going to take Auburn with the better athletes to win that game as well. So give me 4 more games here to pick. Just trying to make sure I got them all down. All right, so we're getting down to some pretty important ones. So we're going to kind of cut to the ones that I think will. Texas Tech at Washington State. We did talk about this game earlier, or the other day. Who do you got winning that game?
I got, man, Texas Tech does not have. They don't never play defense.
That game last week against Abilene Christian was insane. It was one of the best games of the weekend, but they were literally an overtime away from being 0-1. And now you got to go from that, go all the way up to Pullman to play a game that's probably going to be, pretty cool temperatures up there in Washington.
I got Washington winning this one.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Again,
they don't play defense.
They don't.
They just don't.
They never have.
They can't stop anybody. They'll put points on the board. You can easily, you and me can turn around and put points on the board.
Yeah.
It's just, they can't stop it. They don't have no kind of rush defense.
No.
They can't get to the quarterback.
Nope.
You have all the time in the world to throw the football, and Washington is tailor-made. That team is tailor-made for Washington, especially a Washington team that lost quite some players to the NFL. Good, perfect time to get motivations risen high.
Oh no, this is not Washington. This is Washington State.
Washington State.
Still, but you know, just,
Washington State
just for clarification.
Washington State is getting better as well.
Just to clarify for the people.
I didn't hear the state part at the end of your mouth, son.
Yeah.
They're getting just.
No, they're a pretty good team.
They're going the opposite direction of the Huskies only because the Huskies lost people to the National Football League. They got a lot of people that came back on that squad.
Yes.
And the sky's the limit for them. I only see them getting better. I only see them getting more and more dangerous. So.
And they can put up points as well.
And they can put up points as well. If I had to trust a defense out of the two teams, if you force me to, I trust Washington State's defense far more than I trust Texas Tech.
Right.
So
we've been agreeing here the last couple picks, which you know. All right, you got 4 picks to go here. College game day, by the way, will be at Michigan. So will Big Noon kickoff. So they'll all be around that campus in Ann Arbor. Obvious. That was the obvious game. I mean, you know, no argument, no disagreement with that. Let's do a quick one here. Boise at Oregon. I've got Oregon. I think they're going to destroy Boise. Again, I keep saying this every podcast that we do when it comes to college football. A lot of people have Boise State making it to the college football playoff. As the first unranked, or as the first highest ranked group of 5 team. I prefer Tulane. A lot of people have Memphis and UTSA, but most people have Boise. And I'm telling you right now, that defense against Georgia Southern last week was nasty work. Ashton Jenney, the running back, is one of the best running backs in the country. He'll probably be a top 10 draft pick, or maybe top 20 draft pick. But that defense was not good last week against Georgia Southern. And I'm telling you right now, after what everybody's been saying about Oregon taking on Idaho, I think they're going to come out quick, fast, and in a hurry at home. For some reason, Boise State's 3-0 against Oregon. I did not know that. That is one of the weirdest stats I have ever heard.
Yep.
But they are. It's also one of those 9 o'clock late games. But I think they come out angry. Their defense was fine against Idaho. I mean, they only allowed 14 points. And one of those was off a triple trick play. So, you know, you can get anybody with that. So their defense was fine. It's just the offense. They had Dylan Gabriel out there throwing about 50 passes, and they only scored 24 points. So that was a concern. But I expect, again, they got a lot of transfer portal guys, so it's going to take them a game or two to get used to that. I expect them to get used to it with this game. I think a lot of people have the hype behind Boise. I think the hype is going to be dulled a little bit here. Oregon gets the job done pretty easily. Who do you have?
Got Oregon. And, I think it's going to be closer than you think, but
No.
I don't see blowout in this one based just on that undefeated record. That and Boise State they just naturally plays Oregon hard every time they match up. They just do.
They do, but at the end of the day,
You're not going to give them anything.
this is a different time. It's a different time than when they had LeGarrette Blount in that.
Well,
This is a time where Oregon, I think, based on the fact that they've been hearing all week, and they know it, they don't need to hear it, they know it. They're going to watch the film. They've been watching the film, I'm sure, all week, trying to figure out what's going on. At the end of the day, I saw Boise in that Georgia Southern game give up 40+ points. We were watching some of it while we were watching the other games. That was bad. Georgia Southern might be a pretty good team this year, but you can't give up. Oregon is going to have a field day with this team. And like I said, that defense has gotten years better than it was years ago. So that's why I think it'll start out close, and then eventually they just put their foot on the gas and say, all right, enough playing around. We got to start showing people that we're who we say we are. And I think that starts today or Saturday. 3 more games to go. Let's go App State at Clemson. Who do you have winning this game?
Clemson bounces back, and they will beat Oregon State.
Yeah, pretty simple here.
Oregon State's not that great of a defense. They're gonna have to.
Clemson, not Oregon State.
They're gonna have to be defensively to have a shot against Clemson. A battle-tested Clemson that went up against the #1 team in the country.
And the defense is pretty good.
No cupcakes. They played the Georgia Bulldogs, and they lost.
Right.
Dabo Sweeney is going to have them ready
right.
to come straight out of the gates against a Beaver team that's just about.
I said App State, not Oregon State.
Huh?
I said App State, not Oregon State.
Against
Clemson.
Yeah, Appalachian State is going to move the ball, but they're going to have to They're going to have to drop points, and they're too small of a team. Those boys up front are huge for Clemson. They're just big, and they just made App State look relatively small. And Dabo is going to put the bug in your ear that look, it's the team that can. It's one of those teams that can. It's the North Dakota State type team. They're known for coming to your house and breaking your heart. Just ask my team a few years back.
Yeah.
Nah, not the same personnel, but it's about the prestige. It's about the tradition of the school. And these people fight you to the end, but they're just not going to have the size comparison for to battle Clemson for 4 quarters. So in the end, Clemson bullies them for 4 quarters.
Well, folks, like I said, for the most part here at the end, we've agreed. At the beginning, it was a mismatch, so we will see the scores will be a little different here. But I'm going to do something, and I'm going to cash in my upset pick of the week, which is worth 2 points. Or is it worth 2 or 3? I think it's worth 3. Yeah, it is. I'm going to go with Appalachian State over Clemson. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Not only because I'm losing, and that would be a great pickup, but because, like my father said,
it's like I'll be up
they went.
At the end of the weekend.
And again, that was a very long time ago when they beat Michigan. I was shocked as a kid.
I said tradition.
As a kid,
they don't have the same person.
right. Well, I get that. I'm trying to make a bigger point here by going back to that. But as a kid, just watching that, it was so big to me because they were ranked, I think, number 4 in the country. And I'm just thinking, it's early, they're struggling with them, they'll take care of business. And I kept waiting for it, and it never happened. And when they blocked that field goal, I said, wow. As a kid, as a hardcore fan of college football, as a kid, to see something like that happen, you go, man, if that can happen, anybody can get it. And you know what's crazy? That year that happened was the same. That was 2007. That was the same year I always refer to as one of the greatest years in college football. Yeah, that was the same year LSU beat Ohio State, and they lost 2 games in triple, quadruple overtime. Which is that was a wild year, and it all started with that game of App State beating Michigan. So this could be, and then a couple of years ago, I don't know if people remember, they went to College Station, one of the loudest and toughest places to play, and they beat Texas A&M. I'm telling people now, this is kind of that same going to Clemson. I'm sure it'll be a sellout. First home game. App State doesn't care. They're in Boone, North Carolina. Clemson's in Clemson, South Carolina. It's not that far of a drive. They're gonna have some fans in the state. they're gonna come in like we've beaten Michigan, we've beaten A&M. We gave Miami. Did they beat Miami? They either beat Miami that year a couple years ago or they came close. I don't remember which one. They gave North Carolina two of the wildest games I've ever seen. So anybody expecting this game to be a blowout because they lost to Georgia, stop. App State doesn't care about what happened to Georgia. They're coming in there like we can beat this football team. This Clemson offense sucks. They just do. And no, it wasn't just because they played Georgia. They weren't good last year. They haven't been good since Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson. They just haven't been. Georgia just made happen what we already know. And Dabo Swinney, I respect. The man's got 2 national championships. He's been to 3. He's one of the only coaches to absolutely destroy Nick Saban in Alabama in a national championship game. So he's always going to be one of the greatest coaches ever, and he's always going to have my respect. And I respect his decision to say, I don't want to go into the transfer portal. I want to recruit the natural way and do it. Now, people will say that's not working for him, and that's fine. I would argue he just isn't recruiting as well as he used to. It has nothing to do with the transfer portal. I just think he's not recruiting at that top high-end level. So if you're Dabo, I say stand on what you believe in. If you don't believe in getting transfers, that's fine. I think the transfer portal has gotten out of hand anyway. You got guys that have been in college for 8 years for 5 different teams. What? It's gotten out of hand. Every year we got 40 to 50 different teams with a different quarterback from another school. And I get it, it's for different reasons and all that, but most of it is because you got beat by another guy. You saw USC and LSU have 2 quarterbacks that waited their turn, and you saw how they looked out there. They waited their opportunity until guys that were great got done with their careers, and now they have their time to shine. And if they both keep playing like we saw them play week 1, they could change their whole draft stock. So, this whole transfer this, transfer that, you want to do what Colorado has done and sub out your whole program, that's fine if it works. But it hasn't worked. Name me a team that's won a national championship with all these transfers. It hasn't happened. Michigan went out there with guys that they brought in and got the job done. Georgia, their last 2 championships, they got it done with guys that were there. So, again, I love the transfer portal. I think it's fun. Give guys different scenery. You saw DJU come out there the last 2 games and just look like the same guy that we've been seeing. And it's his 3rd school. You saw TJ Finley, the quarterback for Western Kentucky. This is his 3rd or 4th school he's been on. And I just saw something on Instagram where it says he lost to Alabama at 3 different schools and got railroaded every time. Auburn, LSU, and Western Kentucky. Got the brakes beat off him all 3 times. So you have to start asking yourself, what are we doing? There has to be some sort of parameters around this stuff, because it's just getting out of hand. And I agree with Nick Saban and Kirk and other guys. Now, I don't agree all the way, because they just said some crazy stuff as far as how to handle NIL and transfer portal stuff. But there has to be some restrictions. And if you don't agree with that, then, again, you're going to turn college football into something that's going to be unrecognizable and unwatchable. Because you're seeing the product of that. Florida State is a perfect example. And it's not just Florida State. It's other teams as well. But because they were a highly ranked team, and you've seen what have happened on national television 2 weeks in a row. So, Dabo, keep doing what you do. Don't stop believing in what you believe in. And if you can recruit those highly touted guys again, I think they'll be just fine. He didn't get Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson from the transfer portal. He got them because he recruited, is my point. So, That's all I got to say about that. But anyway, I got App State winning. I think they pull another upset. And it really won't be that much because at the end of the day, if Clemson loses this game, they should be out of the rankings because they got ran over by Georgia. They shouldn't even be ranked. If they lose this game, not only are they not going to be ranked, but their season will be over just like Florida State is. And you know what that's going to mean for the ACC? Georgia Tech, Boston College, Duke, all those teams, Louisville, NC State, we're going to pick their game here in a second. All these teams, if Clemson loses to App State, those teams that I just named, this is your time to shine. Because there's no way Florida State's making it to the ACC championship. They've already got 2 ACC losses. It's over. Now, Clemson hasn't even played an ACC game yet. So, theoretically, they could still lose these first 2 games and still win the rest and make it to the ACC championship and clinch and still make the playoff. So, me saying it's over is I kind of exaggerated a little bit because they can still win their conference and automatically qualify. But that's the only chance they have now. They have to win the ACC championship to get into the playoff. And I think losing this game, again, it won't matter if they win their conference, but if they lose this game, to me, it's over. They don't want no part of Miami right now after the way they play. So give me App State. All right, we got 2 games left. 2 of the most important games other than Texas and Michigan to me. Let's go. Number 15, Tennessee. Number 24, or I think it's number 13, Tennessee now, against number 24, NC State. This game is in Charlotte at the Carolina Panthers Stadium. So technically you could say it's a home game for NC State, but Tennessee isn't too far, and their fans always travel. So that's going to be a beautiful game. Prime time, Kirk and company will be on the call. Who do you have, Tennessee or NC State, in this game?
I got Tennessee to beat NC State. A lot of firepower. I just think that it's going to be just a tad too much. Tennessee's got a lot to prove. And this could easily be a statement type game. We're getting ready for conference play. It's just sad to say NC State is going to be a victim to that. So, I like Tennessee.
All right, I'm going to take Tennessee as well. I thought about taking NC State, and then they played Western Carolina last week and looked somewhat pedestrian. Their offense looked fine, but their defense was not good. And you're about to play a Tennessee team that we know what they like to do. They like to go up and down the field. They like to spread you all the way out, end to end, and chuck it. So I like Tennessee to win. I actually have them winning in a blowout. I want this game to be great. I want it to be a close game, but I just don't know if the NC State's defense is going to be good enough to stop Tennessee. And if NC State could find a way to win this game for the ACC, you saw what Miami did to Florida. If NC State can somehow find a way to beat Tennessee, that's 2 big ACC wins over SEC. And again, that just helps their case because if NC State loses this game, they can still go to the ACC championship. They can still clinch a playoff berth, so it's not over for them. But this would be a win that would be really loud for them. So I'll take Tennessee to win. And Nico, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. But he looks like the real deal. Again, they didn't play anybody last week. So we'll see how he looks this week. But hopefully he proves and improves against his NC State defense. Finally, the last game of the week that we're going to pick is the primetime game of the week for us. Which means this game is worth 2 points. If you get it right. I already put my upset pick down for App State, so if I could get these 2 games right, that's already 5 points right there. So since we agreed most of these games are at the bottom half of the picks, Colorado at Nebraska. primetime game. Who do you have in this primetime matchup?
Love Shador Sanders. Nebraska's quarterback is a problem. And that whole team has gotten better since last season. It's going to be at Nebraska. Revenge game. Emotions going to be running high. Last I checked, you can move the ball on Colorado. It's not like they're coming to get you like that. Nebraska's going to beat them.
You know what?
Much as I love Coach Prime, he loses this one.
We all love Coach Prime, and you know it's sad that this is what's happened. But I'm gonna go with Colorado. Give me the Buffs. It's not an upset pick because I already used it. It's a prime time, so this is worth 2 points. Listen, there's a method behind this pick because I'm pretty sure half the world's got Nebraska winning this game, and that's fine. But I would just warn people that this is gonna be a theme for this week that I'm gonna notice. I'm gonna be watching. We will be watching every game intensely and closely, and watching the differences from last week to this week. But I'm telling you guys, Colorado played a North Dakota State team who won 9 FCS championships. This is a team that is in their division playoffs every single year for the last decade. They've beaten 6 of the now last 8 teams they've played. They've lost the last 2, including Colorado, but they have beaten FBS teams and sometimes made it look easy. The game was close. North Dakota State had the lead at half. Colorado came out, and that defense actually looked great. They didn't allow them to do anything, except for that quarterback run at the end, but to me, the game was over. I'm telling you guys right now, Nebraska played UTEP. Come on, man. Let's be serious here. Doesn't mean they're not going to be great. I expect this to be a great classic Colorado-Nebraska old Big 12 game. But Travis Hunter is probably going to win the Heisman if he keeps playing like he's been playing. Shador Sanders is going to be a top 3 pick, and he might be in the Heisman as well. They're the 2 best players on the entire field, offense or defense, for either team. I don't think Nebraska's defense, which is very good, I expect they were very good last year. I expect them to be very good again. I don't think they have an answer for Travis Hunter, and they don't have an answer for Shador. Now, can they get to Shador will be the question. They might be able to, but they got to him last year, and they were still putting up 35, 40 points a game. They're not scared to go into Nebraska. They were playing in hostile environments all year last year. So there's, they get it's a rivalry game. They got Colorado State coming up as well. So, again, they got plenty of rivalry games to go. Dylan Raiola is like, people saying he's like the next Patrick Mahomes. He's darn near patterned himself after him. Haircut, glasses, number, throwing motion. And that's great. But he's played 1 game against UTEP. Let's relax. Like I said, I expect this to be a good, actually low-scoring game. I just like Colorado in this game. I really do. I think that they have a Heisman Trophy winner in either Sanders or Hunter. And I think they're the difference in this game, honestly. And I think people aren't paying attention enough to what that defense of Colorado did in the second half of that game last week. They really shut them down. Because North Dakota State in the second half of those games, they get real tough and they start to push you around. And Colorado said no. I love the adjustments. I expect the same thing in the second half of this Nebraska game. Dylan comes out, starts throwing the ball around, and I think they make adjustments. This defense stiffens up, and they allow Travis Hunter to do what he said last week. I'm the best player. Go get me the ball, and I'm going to win us the game. I expect it to come down to the last team that has the ball, which is, I believe, is going to be Colorado. Shador, Travis, go win the game. So I have Colorado winning. And again, I expect this to be a great weekend. We picked our NFL games earlier this week. So again, we got a lot of picks to look over at the end of the week. But this is going to be a fun weekend, folks. Starting on Thursday with NFL, ending on Monday with NFL, with college football in between. So this will be the last podcast we do till probably next Tuesday. The goal is to try to do college football picks on Tuesdays and NFL picks on Wednesdays. So that way we don't have to record on days where we're watching. We can just sit back, watch the games, and do our picks. And eventually I want to do reaction videos, maybe hours after the games are played. But for now, we'll keep sending you the picks and what we think. Jesus Christ, that is a big mattress. And that's going to be it for now. So thanks for everybody that's listening in so far. Continue to support. We're only going to keep getting better and better. And once we get more, professional equipment, we'll be going live with video. And, you'll get to see the cave set up and how we got it over here. But until then, we will see you guys next week.